flank, move!
Faster, hold the line!
Close the gap!
Advance!
Raise shields! Protect the general! We're trapped!
In 354 BCE, Zhao's capital, Handan, was slowly suffocating under a year-long siege. Wei's legions, the iron fist of the warring states, ringed the city, their intent clear: absorption. Zhao appealed to its ally, Qi. But how do you save a city from an army that stands as the mightiest power of its age? Welcome back to the History Atlas. Today, we unravel the Battle of Guiling, a strategic masterpiece that defied military convention and reshaped ancient China's power dynamics. It was spearheaded by a strategist whose name still echoes through military academies millennia later. Qi's dilemma was profound. Wei, the era's premier military force, projected its formidable legions across the Central Plains. Direct intervention meant confronting this dominant power, facing vast distances and logistical nightmares. The survival of Zhao, and with it, regional equilibrium, hung precariously. The year 354 BCE was deep within the Warring States period, an era defined by ceaseless competition. The Zhou dynasty's nominal authority had long withered. 7 powerful, independent states, Qin, Chu, Qi, Wei, Han, Zhao, and Yan, vied for supremacy across the Central Plains. This was a crucible of ambition, constantly testing rulers. Borders shifted with strategic alliances and military campaigns, creating a precarious balance of power. Among these states, Wei emerged as an early colossus. Strategically positioned at China's crossroads, its formidable territory was bolstered by pioneering internal reforms, notably under Li Kui. These administrative and legal efficiencies, coupled with an exceptionally disciplined and powerful military, propelled Wei's aggressive pursuit of unification. It cast a long shadow of expansionist policies, compelling rivals into complex networks of defense and deterrence. King Hui of Wei harbored clear expansionist objectives, viewing Zhao as the next conquest in his state's relentless drive for regional dominance. Driven by this ambition, Wei's formidable legions swept through Zhao's defenses, achieving initial successes. This culminated in Zhao's capital, Handan, falling under protracted siege. For over a year, Handan endured. Its defenders grew weary, isolated under relentless pressure from Wei's superior forces. Supplies dwindled, and the city's spirit strained under prolonged confinement. Zhao's leadership, unable to repel Wei's incursions and witnessing their capital slowly throttled, understood their dire predicament. Their only recourse was external intervention. A desperate diplomatic mission journeyed to Qi's court, appealing to their alliance and the shared understanding of Wei's escalating threat. Within Qi, Zhao's envoys ignited fervent debate. The geopolitical calculation was stark. Intervening meant direct confrontation with the era's preeminent military power, risking Qi's own stability. Yet, standing aside would allow Wei to grow stronger, reinforcing a future adversary on Qi's western flank. Zhao's plea was a last resort, a desperate gamble for survival, forcing Qi to weigh immediate peril against long-term strategic integrity. Faced with Zhao's desperate plea, King Wei of Qi made his decision. An army would be dispatched, led by General Tianji, a capable and experienced commander. But Qi's intervention rested not merely on military might, but on intellectual prowess. Alongside Tianji stood Sun Bin, a strategist whose legacy stemmed directly from Sun Tzu, the legendary author of The Art of War. Sun Bin's brilliance was renowned, yet his physical form bore the marks of betrayal. He had been crippled, his kneecaps removed, by his former classmate and now bitter rival, Pang Wan, the very general leading Wei's formidable forces. Despite this profound personal affliction, Sun Bin's mind remained unburdened, a forge of unparalleled strategic insight and psychological acumen. King Wei, recognizing this extraordinary intellect, appointed Sun Bin not as a direct field commander, but as the army's chief strategist, entrusting him with decisive counsel. General Tianji harbored deep, unwavering trust in Sun Bin's judgments, understanding that the strategist's insights could unlock paths unseen by conventional military thinking. The question now was what ingenious design this brilliant, yet physically constrained, mind would conjure to challenge Wei's might, commanded by the very man who had sought to silence Sun Bin forever. Sun Bin, analyzing the dire predicament, recognized the strategic fallacy of direct confrontation. Qi's army, having traversed considerable distances, was unprepared for a head-on engagement with Wei's elite forces, now entrenched around Handan. Such a move would be predictable, costly attrition. Instead, he presented a revolutionary approach, a maneuver defying conventional military wisdom, besieging Wei to rescue Zhao, Wei Ju Zhao. The core principle was elegantly simple, yet profoundly impactful. Qi's forces would not march toward Handan. Instead, they would feign such a route, drawing attention, before executing a sudden, swift pivot directly into Wei's lightly defended heartland. Their objective? Wei's capital, Daliang, or other vital cities. The intent was not conquest, but to create an intolerable threat that would compel Pang Wan to abandon the siege of Handan. Sun Bin understood Pang Wan's ambition and pride. No general would permit his homeland to fall while pursuing conquests abroad. The psychological pressure of a direct threat to his monarch and capital would force Pang Wan to recall his army, initiating a rapid, exhausting march back to defend Wei. This counterintuitive gambit, steeped in deception and a profound understanding of his opponent's psychology, immediately shifted the initiative. Qi's army moved, its initial bearing a mask, its true destination a strategic revelation designed to unravel Wei's campaign. Pang Wan, on the verge of claiming Handan, received dispatches shattering his imminent triumph. Qi's army, bypassing Zhao, now advanced swiftly towards Wei's undefended capital, Daliang. The Wei commander faced a stark choice: secure Zhao or protect his homeland. Loyalty and strategic imperative dictated his response. He lifted the protracted siege of Handan, pivoting his formidable legions eastward for an arduous, forced march. This was no measured withdrawal, but a desperate race against time and distance, pushing his seasoned soldiers beyond their limits. Each day brought relentless movement. Rations dwindled, rest became fleeting. The physical and mental toll on Wei's elite forces was profound. Their feigned discipline masked a deep weariness that eroded their combat readiness. The unforgiving landscape blurred into an exhausting continuum. Unbeknownst to Pang Wan, Sun Bin had precisely anticipated this headlong return. Every stride of Wei's struggling army brought them closer to a designated ambush point. The haste intended to save their capital was meticulously guiding them into a trap, laid by the brilliant strategist, where Qi's fresh, concealed forces awaited. The stage was meticulously set. Sun Bin had selected Guiling, a locale defined by winding defiles and dense cover, as the crucible for Wei's overconfidence. Qi's army, rested and concealed, occupied positions of overwhelming advantage. Forward screening elements were strategically placed to guide the approaching Wei forces into the designated area, while main units lay hidden, camouflaged amongst the terrain. General Tian Ji ensured every contingent understood its precise role in the coming maneuver. As the sun reached its zenith, Wei's vanguard appeared. Exhaustion was evident in their stride, the relentless forced march having taken a considerable toll. Their ranks, once disciplined and cohesive, showed signs of disarray, their vigilance diminished. Commander Pang Wan, driven by urgency, pushed his soldiers without respite, unknowingly leading them into a meticulously prepared environment. They anticipated pursuit, perhaps skirmishes, but not a full, concerted engagement with a fresh adversary. The moment Wei's main body entered the narrow passes, Qi's offensive began. From concealed positions, the Qi forces surged, a sudden and coordinated movement. The surprise was absolute. Wei's weary troops, caught off guard, lacked the cohesion to mount an effective counter-formation. Their strategic disadvantage was profound, facing a tactically superior deployment in unfavorable terrain. The engagement swiftly devolved into a struggle for Wei to disengage, their command structure fractured and capacity for sustained opposition severely diminished. The objective, to effect a significant force reduction and, ideally, secure Commander Pang Wan's capture, unfolded with precise efficiency, a testament to Sun Bin's foresight. The engagement at Guiling was not merely a clash of armies. It was the precise execution of a singular strategic mind, a masterclass in deception. Instead of marching directly to Handan, a course that would have pitted Qi's forces against Wei's concentrated, superior legions in their prime, Sun Bin chose a profoundly counterintuitive path. His strategy, famously known as besieging Wei to rescue Zhao, brilliantly diverted the immediate conflict away from Zhao's besieged capital, shifting the enormous burden of logistics, time, and psychological pressure squarely onto Wei. Sun Bin's genius lay in his acute anticipation of his opponent's psychology. He understood Pang Wan's pride, his unwavering determination to protect his homeland, and his likely belief in Wei's overwhelming power. This profound insight predicted Pang Wan's decision to abandon the siege of Handan and rush his forces back to Wei's heartland. The subsequent forced march, covering significant distances in haste, was precisely what Sun Bin had intended. It would exhaust Wei's elite troops, depleting their combat effectiveness even before contact. The selection of Guiling as the ambush site further underscored Sun Bin's tactical precision. The terrain offered ideal conditions for concealment, allowing Qi's fresh, prepared forces to await their weary adversaries in positions of immense advantage. The decisive turning point arrived when Wei's army, having covered extensive ground in their desperate rush, realized they were not speeding home to relieve a threatened capital, but into a meticulously sprung trap set by an awaiting, fresh Qi force. This shattering realization broke their morale and strategic cohesion instantly. The initiative, once firmly held by Wei at Handan, had entirely shifted. Qi now dictated the terms of engagement. This entire sequence, from initial diversion to climactic ambush, was a testament to Sun Bin's intellectual foresight, demonstrating that strategic ingenuity could indeed overcome even the most formidable advantages of brute force. The engagement at Guiling left an indelible mark on the warring states. Wei's powerful legions, once deemed invincible, suffered a substantial force reduction. General Pang Wan, a key architect of Wei's military might, experienced the ignominy of capture, though he was later released. This reversal of fortune had immediate, far-reaching consequences. For Zhao, the most immediate outcome was the lifting of the protracted siege on Handan, securing their state's survival against absorption. For Qi, the victory elevated its standing significantly. Its forces, under General Tian Ji's command and Sun Bin's unparalleled strategic vision, demonstrated a military acumen that commanded respect across the Central Plains. Sun Bin's brilliance was now publicly affirmed, his strategic mind proving capable of outmaneuvering the era's most feared commander. This success bolstered Qi's prestige and influence. Conversely, the defeat at Guiling delivered a profound blow to Wei's reputation. King Hui saw his expansionist ambitions severely curtailed. The perception of Wei's military supremacy, painstakingly built over decades through internal reforms and numerous conquests, was now visibly challenged. The cost was not merely personnel or strategic position, but the erosion of the aura of invincibility that had fueled Wei's dominance. This outcome starkly underscored the perils of overconfidence, demonstrating that even the mightiest power could be humbled by superior strategy and cunning. The Battle of Guiling etched a decisive new maxim into the annals of strategy. Sun Bin's innovative approach became renowned as besieging Wei to rescue Zhao, an idiom still invoked millennia later. Its principles of indirect action and psychological manipulation continue to be studied, influencing military thought from ancient Chinese campaigns to modern strategic planning. Guiling demonstrated unequivocally that intellectual prowess could overcome numerical superiority, proving that the mind's grasp of an opponent's psychology often dictated the terms of engagement more profoundly than the raw strength of legions. This victory not only secured Zhao's survival but also served as a crucial precursor to the later Battle of Guiling, where Sun Bin would again outmaneuver Pang Wan. In the broader context of the Warring States period, Guiling marked a significant challenge to Wei's early dominance, contributing to its eventual decline and paving the way for the ascendance of states like Qi and Qin. The enduring lesson remains clear. True strength often lies not in direct confrontation, but in the artful redefinition of the battlefield. What other ancient strategies do you think are still relevant today? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the History Atlas to relive more heroic pages of history.
History is full of secrets. Tap subscribe and explore more with the History Atlas.